The 1965 novel by Frank Herbert has been brought to the big screen for the second time with Denis Villeneuve's Dune remake. Without Herbert's Dune, many of the most well-known science fiction books and films would not have been written or produced today. Here's what you need to know about the movie's plot, characters, and setting. First up, the characters. The initial critical reception to Villeneuve's Dune has seemingly ended the long-held belief that Herbert's novel would be nearly impossible to adapt convincingly. Paul Atreides is played by Timothée Chalamet and is the heir of House Atreides. His entire world was torn to respond to the Galactic Emperor's call. Family Harkonnen, the Atreides house, established a foothold on the dry planet of Arrakis to build a more prosperous and peaceful rule than their terrible ancestors. But the Harkonnens have already set in motion evil schemes that have precipitated a sequence of inevitable galactic changes. Following David Lynch's misguided 1984 Dune adaptation, Dune's elaborate world-building and intricate plot have caused much confusion. But when understood correctly, as in the case of Villeneuve's most recent version, Dune is a moving and thought-provoking allegory wrapped in an engaging story. Dune's intricate plot must be followed correctly for audiences to enjoy the magnificent sci-fi novel. So let's break it down. Next up, the setup of Dune. The planet has only become more complex since Dune is set in thousands of years. The human race is dispersed throughout the cosmos, and a different aristocratic house rules each world. Led by Emperor Shaddam Corrino IV unites these houses. The Bene Gesserit is an all-female organization that has existed for thousands of years and significantly influenced the Empire's social, religious, and political life. The Bene Gesserit are superhuman beings with spiritual and mental talents beyond the comprehension of regular people. The organization's ultimate goal is to employ these skills, which result from selective breeding, to create the Kwisatz Haderach, a male superhuman with omniscience. We also have the Mentats, equally as remarkable as the Bene Gesserit. All thinking machines, computers, and artificial intelligence were wiped out in Dune 10,000 years before the story began. Mentats, human computers capable of performing very complicated calculations in a matter of milliseconds, took their place in the Empire. But even with Mentats, space travel was difficult due to the need for thinking machines. That is where Arrakis and the spice come in. Next off, planet Arrakis and spice. Arrakis is shown to be a harsh desert planet inside of Dune that is supposedly inhabitable. The native Fremen who live in the desert have little access to water and must constantly watch out for harmful sandworms. These Fremen can only exist because of their intricate water conservation systems and their conviction that a Messiah will one day transform Arrakis, a notion instilled in them by the Bene Gesserit. Arrakis would typically be neglected and unspoiled, but the spice gives the arid planet value. The spice mixture comes from Arrakis, and Dune's story makes a strong case that the Empire would collapse without the sauce. Spice is used for many things, but one of its primary functions is to increase lifespan. Additionally, it enables spaceflight by enhancing awareness so passengers can predict difficulties. Spice has all these qualities because it's an analogy for oil in Herbert's visionary story. Think of a precious resource that can only be obtained in the middle of a desert. Next up, Paul and House Atreides. We can follow the lives of Paul Atreides and his noble family in Dune. Paul, the result of Bene Gesserit's selective breeding, is the son of Duke Leto, Oscar Isaac, and Lady Jessica, his concubine, Rebecca Ferguson. Duke Leto ruled the planet of Caladan, and it is also the place where Paul was born. They are getting ready to relocate to Arrakis, where Leto will now rule at the novel's start. Lady Jessica is Leto's concubine. She also serves as a high-ranking Bene Gesserit member. Training Paul as Leto is also preparing him to become a Mentat. Jessica first had orders from the Bene Gesserit to only have daughters. Still, she disobeyed them and gave birth to a son, Kwisatz Haderach. Next off, Dune movie story. The first half of the complicated tale of the Dune novel is covered in Villeneuve's Dune as they provide sufficient planetary exposition. The Bene Gesserit test Paul to determine if he is the Kwisatz Haderach. The Emperor and Baron Harkonnen, Stellan Skarsgård, are working on a strategy to overthrow House Atreides in the meantime. The plot begins when House Atreides moves to rule Dune, and the Emperor gives the Harkonnens permission to use an elite regiment of warriors known as the Sardaukar to kill the Atreides soldiers when it's night. One of Leto's most devoted men is persuaded by the Harkonnens to turn against him and accuse Jessica of the crime. Due to the generations-long conflict between the Harkonnens and the Atreides, the attack doesn't seem unexpected or odd. Usually the plot should go down without a hitch, but the Harkonnens need a plan for Paul. He uses his extraordinary powers to aid Jessica and himself, escaping the unexpected onslaught. The terrified pair escape to the desert, where they come upon the Fremen. At this point, Paul shows his fighting prowess by defeating Jamis in ritualized battle. Next up, Dune 2's story. Dune 2 will cover the second half of Herbert's work, as was decided some 4 years ago after Villeneuve's choice to spread out this complicated source material. In the books, Paul and Jessica persuade the Fremen that Paul is the promised Messiah, according to their legends, once they encounter them. The tribes welcome them, and Jessica takes on the role of Fremen's Reverend Mother. In the meantime, Paul starts dating Chani, a Fremen girl, Zendaya. He also acquires consciousness, which enables him to ultimately realize his potential as Kwisatz Haderach and the ability to manage sandworms. He rallies the Fremen under the new authority and prestige to combat the Harkonnens. Given the enormous popularity of Villeneuve's first Dune portrait, his follow-up cannot come soon enough. Next off, humans of Earth inhabit the Imperium. The whole population of the Space Guild is Earthborn, which is an intriguing aspect of the Dune universe. As you might anticipate from an interstellar science fiction epic like Dune, there aren't any space aliens. Earth serves as a kind of cradle of civilization for the inhabitants of the solar system's numerous planets. The inhabitants of Caladan, Haiti Prime, Arrakis, and other planets have their origins on Earth. As a result, the Imperium resembles the feudal systems of Earth that we, the viewer, are familiar with in appearance and operation. In actuality, House Atreides can trace their ancestry back to Agamemnon, the legendary king of ancient Greece. In Villeneuve's movie, you might recall Duke Leto looking thoughtfully at the image on the golden tablets before departing Caladan. Agamemnon is that guy. Next off, Earth's relics can be found throughout Dune. In the first volume, we see flashes of an Earth we are familiar with. In addition to Atreides claiming to be Agamemnon's descendants, Paul warns of the catastrophic danger of political leadership by citing the influence of historical characters like Genghis Khan and Adolf Hitler. And as the story progresses, Leto II, who possesses the Bene Gesserit skill of studying all of his predecessors' memories, will frequently spend a lot of time reliving historical significant Earth events. Leto II can recall events on Earth that we are familiar with, like Roman invasions, Bach and Mozart's music, Napoleon's wars, and more. In the Dune universe, various Earth languages are also secretly spoken, native Earth plants are grown, and hybrid animals based on Earth species have been breeding over thousands of years on faraway planets. Next up, what happened to Earth? The first scene in Villeneuve's film reveals that Dune is set in the year 10,191 AG, After Guild. After Guild refers to the time the Space Guild was founded and established, along with the colonization of the known universe. It is also where the Atreides and other feudal houses reside. According to the Dune Encyclopedia, Earth was struck by another planetoid and nearly destroyed thousands of years after the solar system had been inhabited by humanity and later governed by the Guild. At the time, 20-to-1 more people lived in the rest of the solar system than on Earth. A few decades later, the Imperium ordered that the Earth be reseeded and designated as a national park. From there, things became challenging. For Dune enthusiasts, there are also a lot of discrepancies between the Dune's Encyclopedia's explanations and the supplementary Dune novels published by Frank Herbert's son, Brian. Fortunately, we have the source material to refer to for more information. In the original Frank Herbert novels, we learn that the Bene Gesserit secret society of women holds a few lost items from what they call Old Earth or Old Terra, including a Vincent van Gogh painting. According to Leto II in the fourth book of the epic, Earth no longer exists. And by the time of Chapter House, the sixth and final Dune novel by Frank Herbert, set many thousands of years after Paul Atreides' time, the Bene Gesserit refers to Earth as being gone. Seeing our favorite actors acting on the big screen on an excellent and well-known plot is a treat. But sometimes, the story can be a little hard to understand. Who is your favorite character from the movie? Has the film portrayed the 1960 novel just as well? Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching.